Good evening and thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. You're watching the 9 at Night. I'm Stephania Jimenez. Tonight, we know more about what happened earlier this month when San Antonio police officers shot a man with a gun at a West Side motel, and that's because we have the video, which you're looking at here. Shooting happened January 4th, a little after 8:30 p.m. Officers responded to the Luxury Inn on the 1400 block of Culebra Road. Someone called 911 saying that a man was making threats with a gun, and when police got there, a witness said the man was in a room on the second floor. Officer Joshua Nicholson could be heard on video saying that he's going to knock on one of those doors. Then he does, and he announces that he's a police officer. The suspect, Jose Irruegas, can be seen opening the door with a gun in his hand. When he's told to drop the gun, Irruegas points it at the officer. Both officers, Nicholson and Ryan Tobar, opened fire and they hit Irruegas several times. The gun the suspect had, however, turned out to be a BB gun. That's according to records obtained by KSAT Investigates. Irruegas was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and now he's facing charges of terroristic threats against a police officer. We now know the name of the man who was hit and killed by an SUV 2 days ago while just crossing the street. The medical examiner has identified him as 76-year-old Jose Carmen Arriago. It happened in the 300 block of South General McMullen Sunday before noon. According to police, the driver of the SUV was backing out and just didn't see Arriago crossing the street. He died at the scene. We're told the driver did stop, tried to help, and charges are not expected to be filed against that driver. A man is facing charges in connection with a hit and run that killed a 25-year-old man last week. The 43-year-old Alvin Bates is charged with failure to stop and render aid, resulting in death. That crash happened last Wednesday just before 7 a.m. on South W.W. White Road, just south of I-10. The victim, John Ortega, was hit while walking across the road. Security footage showed the vehicle that Bates was allegedly driving hit Ortega and drove off through a parking lot. Someone who works with Bates told police that he saw blood on his vehicle, and Bates was arrested on Monday. Bexar County Sheriff's deputies found heroin in a strange place. Diapers. They say the drugs were in a shirt that the suspect was wearing. Deputies stopped him Sunday during a traffic stop at Roosevelt Avenue and Loop 410. A K-9 deputy was alerted to the smell of drugs that were found behind the rear passenger seat. The 4 people inside the vehicle were also searched, and that's when the diaper with a brick-like bundle of heroin laced with fentanyl was found. All 4 suspects are charged with conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute more than 500 grams of heroin. Now, from heroin to opioids, often people or pain forces people to use opioid painkillers. So as an alternative, the government is paying for 5 studies across the country to create medicines for specific types of pain that are not opioid based. As Courtney Friedman reports, one of those studies is happening at UT Health San Antonio, and it's focused on jaw pain.
Research shows 80% of drug abuse from drugs like heroin and cocaine actually stem from painkillers. One type of persistent and debilitating pain that typically warrants medication is jaw pain.
It is extremely common. I mean, it's, I think, counted number 4 or 5 of overall pain conditions.
Dr. Armin Akopian is leading a UT Health San Antonio study that was just granted $9.8 million to research jaw pain in humans and eventually spur the creation of a non-opioid treatment.
It's a big deal.
They'll do that by performing jaw replacement surgeries and collecting muscle tissue to study.
Once they collect the tissue in specific cells, they put them here into this machine and use this needle-like instrument to poke it and see what type of reaction it gives.
They can then watch the movement and intensity with pictures and graphs like this. That information will hopefully help other teams create a safe drug to quell jaw pain.
We're always confident, but that's not only depends on us, it's a long procedure.
It could take 10 or even 25 years, but scientists and the government alike believe it could save lives, so the money and time invested will be worth it. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Can you feel it now? It is getting cooler. Meteorologist Sarah Spivey has your forecast.
Good evening. I hope you got some good rain earlier this morning. Coming up on the Nightbeat, we're going to talk about rainfall totals in neighborhoods around San Antonio. But as for your day tomorrow, know that it's going to be cold. Temperatures will start off in the mid-30s. A bit of a wind chill in the air, too, early tomorrow. And we'll be looking at tons of sunshine. So steady warm up, but all in all, a cool day. We'll spend the morning in the 40s, the afternoon in the 50s, 58 degrees for the high, a bit breezy with winds from the northwest at 20 miles per hour. Hope to see you at the Nightbeat.
Now, CPS Energy could be done with coal power within 5 years. That's according to a plan the utility's board members passed 4-1 yesterday. But as Garrett Berger tells us, it's not going to get the city all the way to its climate goals.
4-1, the motion carries.
Monday's vote clears the way for clearer air in San Antonio. The CPS Energy Board chose a blended portfolio for its power generation planning, a blend that excludes the utility's 2 remaining coal plants, Spruce 1 and 2. On Calaveras Lake.
It's a big polluter. It's good news for the air that we breathe.
The official deadline for CPS to get rid of coal generation is 2030, but the utility is planning on sooner. Its CEO says they'll have to shut down Spruce 1 by the end of 2027.
And then in between now and then, we can do the work we need to do to convert the Spruce 2 unit to natural gas.
A different fossil fuel that will continue to play a big part in the utility's power generation, despite other greener options on the table.
The portfolios with cleaner resources to replace it were better.
The utility CEO says they also plan to shut down some older natural gas plants and says every power source has its challenge.
But when you have no wind and solar and you have no natural gas to back it up, if you have to go into the market to replace that capacity, then you're going to be buying natural gas.
San Antonio has a goal of being carbon neutral by 2050. And while this new portfolio would help it meet the 2030 target, it won't be enough to meet the 2040 or 2050 goals. But Mayor Ron Nirenberg, who serves on the CPS board, says this can't be the last change.
It would be a mistake for any of these scenarios for us to think we make a decision today and then we can turn away and let it carry on course.
Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Now here's a question for you. True or false? You can catch a cold by not dressing warmly enough on a cold day. Here's a short answer. False. But 12 on Your Side's Marilyn Moritz explains why you should still listen to your mom and bundle up.
How many times have you heard this? Put on a jacket or you'll catch a cold. Thing is, that's not true. You can't catch a cold by exposure to the weather.
Being cold itself won't make you sick. Viruses, however, will by causing respiratory tract infections.
There are more than 200 viruses that can cause a cold, and all can be more likely to spread in winter and make it into your nose, mouth, or eye. Plays a role. It helps trap germs we breathe in before they can cause an infection. But
low humidity and heated environments can cause the lining in our noses to become drier, which makes it easier for the germs to invade the body.
A humidifier can help. Levoit, Honeywell, and Baby Move models got top marks in Consumer Reports tests. They cost between $55 and $100. While cold weather doesn't cause a cold, there may be an indirect link. Our immune systems function best when body temperature is well regulated. So, to bolster your immunity, bundle up. And still have these. Wearing a face mask in a crowd or around sick people can help protect you. And of course, don't forget to frequently wash your hands. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Sounds like good advice to me. So take mom's advice tomorrow and bundle up. Well, we're out of time. The 9 at Night returns tomorrow. Stay warm, and we'll see you then.